Welcome back to our channel. So fans, it is a fantastic day to dive deep into the latest drama unfolding in Genoa City. Grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's unpack the explosive twist coming our way. Picture this: suitcases aggressively zip shut, a baby crying in the background, and the once grand, historically peaceful halls of the Chancellor estate echoing with the toxic screams of a shattered marriage. The picture-perfect union of Abby Winters and Devon Winters is not just cracking. It is violently detonating right before our very eyes in a spectacle of heartbreak and betrayal. We all knew that the trauma of baby Dominic's kidnapping would leave deep, invisible scars on this family. But no one could have ever predicted that the ultimate threat to their home wouldn't come from an outside intruder, but from the blinding, unhinged rage of Devon himself. The walls are rapidly closing in, and Abby is standing at the edge of a terrifying precipice, realizing that the man she loves is morphing into a monster of his own making, and she might have to run for her life to protect her son. The catalyst for this catastrophic marital implosion centers entirely around Mariah Copeland and the complex legal fallout of her deeply traumatizing actions. As longtime viewers know, Devon has been on an absolute, relentless warpath, desperately trying to overturn the court's decision to accept Mariah's plea deal. Devon wanted blood. He wanted Mariah locked away in a cold federal prison, stripped of her freedom, and punished to the maximum extent of the law for taking Dominic away from them. However, the justice system saw things differently, recognizing Mariah's severe mental breakdown and postpartum psychosis, and opting to send her to a psychiatric facility for the help she so desperately needs. Devon's petition to reverse this decision has officially failed, and that legal defeat has ignited a terrifying inferno of bitterness inside him that is burning everything he touches. What makes this storyline so incredibly compelling and frankly heartbreaking is Abby's astonishing maturity and grace in the face of her husband's spiraling darkness. Abby is the mother. Abby is the one whose child was ripped from her arms, leaving her in a state of paralyzing panic. If anyone has the right to demand vengeance and retribution, it is her. Yet, Abby has shown a profound depth of empathy and understanding that we rarely see in the dramatic landscape of Genoa City. She recognizes that Mariah was not acting out of inherent malice or evil, but out of a severe, untreated mental health crisis triggered by the physical and emotional toll of the surrogacy. Abby genuinely believes that a mental health facility is exactly where Mariah belongs, not a prison cell. She wants Mariah to heal, and more importantly, she wants her own family to move on from this waking nightmare. But Devon's absolute refusal to let go of his vendetta is making that impossible. Devon's resentment has mutated into a toxic, suffocating cloud that is poisoning the very air inside the Chancellor estate, tainting the beautiful legacy that Katherine Chancellor left behind. He is no longer the calm, rational, and loving patriarch that Abby married and trusted with her life. Instead, he is lashing out, entirely consumed by vindictive fury that blinds him to the collateral damage he is causing to the people who love him most. He cannot fathom why Abby is not standing beside him with a pitchfork, demanding Mariah's head on a platter. In Devon's warped, grief-stricken perspective, Abby's empathy for Mariah is a personal betrayal, a sickening sign that she doesn't care enough about what happened to their son. This fundamental disconnect in how they process their shared trauma is creating a massive, unbridgeable chasm between them, and the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. The most tragic victim in this escalating domestic warfare is, without a doubt, baby Dominic. Children are incredibly perceptive, soaking up the emotional energy of their environment like little sponges, and Abby has begun to notice the subtle, heartbreaking changes in her son's demeanor. Dominic is picking up on his father's erratic, angry energy. The loud arguments echoing down the hallways, the slamming doors, the constant, simmering hostility, it is all taking a severe psychological toll on the child they fought so incredibly hard to bring into this world. Abby is coming to the terrifying realization that Devon's obsessive crusade for his twisted version of justice is actually creating a far more dangerous and toxic environment for Dominic than the kidnapping itself did. Devon is single-handedly turning their safe haven into an emotional war zone. This brings us to the ultimate breaking point in their relationship. Abby Winters is not a woman who will sit idly by while her child's emotional well-being is jeopardized by anyone, not even her husband. If Devon refuses to listen to her desperate warnings, if he continues to allow his rage to dictate the atmosphere of their home, Abby is fully prepared to take drastic, immediate action to sever the cord. We are looking at a highly probable, dramatic scenario where Abby packs her bags, scoops up Dominic, and walks right out the front door of the Chancellor mansion, her destination, the Abbott mansion. Seeking refuge in her family's ancestral home would be a massive, symbolic declaration of war. It would be Abby drawing a hard line in the sand, telling Devon that until he seeks professional psychiatric help for his anger and drops this destructive vendetta, he no longer has access to his wife or his son. But hold on to your seats, because the drama does not stop at a simple, quiet separation. The timeline reveals that the conflict over Mariah is about to escalate from a tense domestic dispute into a full-blown, public legal bloodbath. In a desperate bid to protect her son's long-term stability and ensure Mariah cannot disrupt their lives again, Abby attempts to establish a formal, legal agreement that would strictly limit Mariah's visitation rights with Dominic. It is a completely rational, protective measure for a mother to take regarding a woman who literally kidnapped her child during a psychotic break. Yet, in a twist that is sure to leave viewers screaming at their televisions in pure frustration, Devon flat out refuses to sign the document. His reasoning: he claims that Mariah shares a profound spiritual connection with Dominic that cannot and should not be legally severed. Let's pause for a moment and unpack the sheer audacity and cruelty of Devon's stance here. He is actively prioritizing the feelings and the supposed spiritual connection of the woman who traumatized their family over the desperate pleas and the psychological peace of mind of his own wife. Devon is essentially telling Abby that Mariah's bond with Dominic supersedes Abby's fundamental right to feel safe in her own child's presence. This is the ultimate, unforgivable betrayal. It is a staggering slap in the face that leaves Abby reeling in disbelief. She realizes in that horrifying moment that Devon is not protecting their family, he is protecting Mariah. He is actively sabotaging their marriage to defend a woman whose obsession with their son nearly destroyed them all. Driven to the absolute brink by her husband's shocking betrayal and his twisted loyalties, Abby decides she can no longer rely on Devon to protect their child. She goes completely rogue. Abby begins meticulously gathering every single shred of medical and police evidence documenting Mariah's mental instability, her emotional breakdowns, and the terrifying details of the kidnapping itself. Her goal is to unilaterally sue for sole custody and strictly enforce visitation limits through a judge, completely bypassing Devon's consent. When Devon discovers Abby's covert legal maneuver, he is horrified, viewing her actions as incredibly cruel, heartless, and vindictive toward Mariah. The irony is absolutely staggering Devon, who just spent weeks trying to throw Mariah in a federal prison cell to rot, is now calling Abby cruel for simply wanting to limit an unstable kidnapper's access to her baby. This catastrophic breakdown of communication and trust culminates in one of the most explosive, emotionally devastating courtroom scenes in recent Young and the Restless history. The custody hearing is not just a standard legal proceeding. It is a public, bloody execution of the Winters' marriage. As they stand before the judge, the gloves come off completely, and decades of history are laid bare. Abby takes the stand and lays out the undeniable, harrowing facts of Mariah's psychological collapse and the sheer terror of the kidnapping. She paints a vivid, heartbreaking picture of a mother desperately trying to shield her son from a woman who completely lost her grip on reality. It is a powerful, airtight argument rooted in undeniable trauma and a fierce maternal instinct to protect her young. But Devon's dark retaliation is what truly pushes the storyline into the realm of the unforgivable. Instead of attacking the legal merits of Abby's petition or focusing on Dominic's well-being, Devon launches a vicious, deeply personal character assassination against his own wife in open court. He pulls out documents and testimonies highlighting every impulsive, unstable, and controversial action Abby has ever taken in her entire life. He weaponizes her history, her past mistakes, and her deepest vulnerabilities, laying them bare before the judge in a desperate, ugly attempt to prove she is unfit to make unilateral decisions for Dominic. He doesn't hold back for a single second, dragging Abby's darkest secrets into the glaring light of the courtroom simply to win an argument and punish her for defying him. As the judge's gavel finally falls, the silence in the courtroom is absolutely deafening. Abby is left sobbing uncontrollably, completely shattered by the realization that the man she promised to spend the rest of her life with just publicly humiliated and destroyed her to protect someone else. Devon stands there, foolishly and arrogantly believing he has done the noble, righteous thing for Dominic, completely blind to the fact that he has just incinerated his family with his own hands. The hope for a peaceful, loving home has vanished into thin air, replaced by an ocean of tears, bitter resentment, and a profound, chilling hatred. Their marriage is officially over, dead on arrival, buried under a mountain of legal briefs, broken promises, and unforgivable betrayals. As a longtime fan who treats these characters like real friends and neighbors, I have to be completely honest with you all. Devon is acting like an absolute villain in this narrative, and it is incredibly hard to watch. His hypocrisy is mind-boggling and infuriating. He wants Mariah locked in a cage one minute, But the next minute, he is defending her spiritual connection to Dominic and publicly destroying Abby to protect her. It is pure madness. Devon's grief and anger have completely warped his sense of reality, turning him into a toxic force. On the flip side, I am standing up in my living room and cheering for Abby. She has evolved so beautifully from the impulsive, spoiled Newman heiress into a fierce, grounded, and incredibly strong lioness of a mother. She is the only actual adult in the room right now, the only one truly prioritizing Dominic's safety over petty vendettas and misplaced, confusing loyalties. So, what is going to happen next in this tragic, gripping saga? My prediction is that the judge will ultimately see right through Devon's vindictive tactics and side with Abby. Legally speaking, Devon's aggressive defense of a woman who kidnapped their child is flimsy, emotionally driven, and highly concerning to a family court, while Abby's desire for strict boundaries is textbook protective parenting. Abby will win primary custody, and she will immediately make good on her threat to move into the safety of the Abbott mansion, taking Dominic far away from Devon's suffocating toxicity. However, this massive legal and personal loss will only push Devon further off the deep end. I foresee Devon spiraling into complete, dark isolation, alienating everyone around him, and potentially forging a highly unhealthy, dangerous alliance with Mariah against his own wife. The war for Dominic is only just beginning, and the casualties will be immense. The destruction of the Winters family is a heartbreaking spectacle to witness, but it undeniably makes for some of the most gripping, edge-of-your-seat television we have seen all year. What do you think about Devon's shocking courtroom betrayal, and do you fully support Abby's decision to pack her bags and flee to the Abbott mansion to protect her son? Drop your hottest takes and predictions in the comments below. Share this article with your fellow Y and our addicts to keep the conversation going. And don't forget to check back tomorrow for more exclusive Genoa City updates.